the Everything But Politics podcast.
All right, here we freaking go. Everything But Politics, episode 80. Joining us is none other than Mr. Marc, Illy. Marc, how are you today, man?
Hey, doing good, man. Just got out the gym and doing some work here, and I'm glad to be on the podcast with you guys.
Appreciate you joining us. Before we started recording here, you were just telling us about your last 4 months spent in Europe. I'd love if you could tell us a little more about your adventure over there.
Yeah. So I don't know, many people probably don't know me, my background. I have a background in music and also in marketing, digital marketing, social marketing, and a lot of experience in Facebook ads and Shopify. So I do have, a Shopify store for clothing, and I do have a digital marketing business for the past 12 years. So, yeah, I pretty much work remotely. Used to have an office in LA and got rid of it, took a one-way ticket to Bali, ended up living in Asia for 4.5 years. So the digital nomad lifestyle has kind of been something I feel that I started before that term was even around, because I was a digital nomad in 2014. So that being said, the trip to Europe, same thing, except we were doing a little bit of work, a little bit of play. I spoke at a tech conference, the Tomorrow conference in Belgrade, Serbia, is how we kicked it off. And just kept getting all these opportunities and meeting all these great people. Got hired to work in Bucharest, Romania, on a fintech app company doing marketing for them. Then ended up DJing at the Hard Rock Hotel in Marbella, Spain. Went to Madrid, ended up in Rome with a buddy I met in Madrid, was in Milan. So, and I was with my dog Munchkin, that everybody knows. Munchkin will probably jump over here in a minute. Munchkin, come here. Come on. Come here. So Munchkin's going to jump up. Come on. Get over here. Come on. So, yeah. Okay, Munchkin. Oh, Munchkin wants to get in me.
There she is.
There's Munchkin. She's a little blurry, but she's never blurry. She knows what she wants at all times. So it just treats, right? Treats.
Love it. So, Marc, when a company does reach out to you for them to help with marketing, what exactly do you do for that company?
So we used to do a lot of organic kind of SEO and stuff more organically with building up the Facebook and the Instagram pages. Fast forward now, we're getting back more into SEO and organic rankings with Google because, paid traffic is too expensive for some people to afford, especially because it's a slow hustle at first. I have been doing Facebook ads before anyone knew what Facebook ads were, probably. I started on Twitter. And now, fast forward, I don't use Twitter as much as I probably should, but I built my first company all from Twitter. But yeah, we were doing a lot of organic Twitter marketing, a lot of SEO, and now we do a lot of Klaviyo email flows, email marketing, and a lot of paid ads, just because people really want results fast. And I found that when we were taking SEO clients, they really have a problem to understand that it's a slow hustle. And, it's going to take 5 to 8 months to get your rankings on page 1 before that, that traffic starts to really hit, to see a big surplus in traffic, depending on how competitive your keywords are and all that. It could be done sooner. Now with AI, it's been great because there's so many great tools, and, there's a lot of tips and tricks now to use with AI when it comes to SEO that are beyond just the copy and the blog posts and the copy.ai making the blog posts and these kind of things. But yeah, we do a lot of paid ads, do a lot of organic Instagram marketing, to get more real followers on somebody's page. and a lot of Facebook, Instagram paid ads. I actually have a guide right now that I sell that gives out a lot of, tricks and secrets on the Facebook ads world.
Well, and would you mind sharing some of those little secrets you got? So if someone is listening and they want to, they want to take you on as a coach, what would that entail?
Yeah, I mean, right now I have a course I'm working on that, helps people with drop shipping A to Z, how to get into digital marketing, how to basically open up your online empire and start it from the beginning. So it starts with mindset. It starts with understanding the digital marketing side of things. It starts with understanding email marketing, building your email list. Starts with really important is understanding that this is doable. And, I used to be a marketing director for Chase Bank, and I quit 12 years ago, and I've never worked, a job again. So, a lot of people have this idea that this is just like a dream that can't come true. That, it's so hard for me to monetize what I'm doing. It's so hard for me to, be successful online. It's so hard. It's so hard. And when I hear people talk like this, I'm like, look, it's freaking hard. Get up and get moving. Get to work, learn something new, and you can do it. I mean, it's not about, is it so hard? Is it so easy? If you want something easy, then, then just turn off your brain, go flip burgers at McDonald's and live a life like that. And that's easy. If you want easy, then go and do that. But, success comes to the bold. And every day I wake up, I say, fortune favors the bold. It's one of my favorite lines in the world. And going back into it, so what I was saying, not to gear off track too much, Facebook and Instagram ads is really about a few main things. It's about how you set up the ads, doing it properly. It's about having scroll stopping images and reels. And it's really about testing different audiences. So for every industry, keep in mind, I've scaled 75 plus businesses to over 6 figures. And that's not like a smoke and mirrors number. That's a real thing that I've accomplished and achieved. And at the end of the day, it's all the same. Whether I have a budget of $1,000 a day, or I have a budget of $5,000 a day, or a budget of $30 a day, where I'd say an entry level client would come in at for their budget on Facebook and Instagram or Google. But at the end of the day, it's it comes down to a couple key metrics, and it comes down to testing the audience. Comes down to the creatives being amazing, comes down to the copy being amazing, being emotional to get you, gripped into it. And one thing that people are just very ignorant to is it comes down to your offer too. So your offer is a big thing. There's a saying that says, if a man doesn't have an offer for his business, he doesn't have any business. And I used to kind of take that with a grain of salt, like, oh, well, I have a great company and I have a great track record and, I'll be fine. But it's that offer that gets people to jump on things. So whether we're doing e-commerce stores, it's that 50% off, 30% off, Black Friday sales, all these times of the year we see the most influx of sales and see the most success, the highest ROAS, return on ad spend, because people are in a shopping mood, one. And number two, it's the offer. And people are geared by that offer to get up off their butt and put in their credit card information when they have an offer. So in the guide, to answer your question, like I said, images, copy, offer, proper setup, doing it right. Because, for instance, if you were to set up a campaign with a $5 ad budget on an ad set, and you put in, I had looked at a guy's ad account. He had put in 15 ads on one ad set for $5. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? This is called cookbook a cookbook technique that used to work really well about 3 or 4 years ago. And it still works, but it doesn't work that well, because what happens is you're spreading all these different ad creatives that are duplicated. Keep in mind, part of the method is to duplicate your ads. So you would have 3 of the same ads, 3 of the same ads, 3 of the same ads to equate to 15 or 16 ads. And I guess it's supposed to get people to see the same thing again and again, but it doesn't work like that, because what happens is Facebook is only serving the ads that they favor and that they think people are going to like more often. And you're just kind of wasting the budget. And then on another side, you're not getting the social proof that makes people engage, to get those comments that say, cool, I'm interested. No, your stuff's trash. I love it. Great offer. Okay, at Jim Johnson, they tag their friends. They get more likes on the post. So when they see the post, it's got to have that social proof. So that's one technique that we use. To have multi-ads running at different times of the day, we call it an omni-content strategy. And we can do that, but it doesn't work well when you try to do a conversion or a leads campaign cookbook style.
And I'm curious, because you talk about this cookbook style and its prevalence 3-4 years ago. How do you keep on top of these trends, knowing what these algorithms are seeking and what, how they cater to people's social media accounts?
Honestly, it just comes by testing, because comes by testing different audiences, different methods. And when I see the different ad accounts and I see different things that we test in people's accounts, right now I'm managing about 17 different ad accounts, just myself with my team. So we try these different methods, and I have, part of my team bringing their collectiveness to it and saying, hey, we should try this. And I'll say, yeah, honestly, that's an old technique. I don't really think that's going to work. But hey, I want to show you something, and I want you to test it to see if it's going to work, because I always tell my clients that we're going to be testing new things, because you might get a diamond in the rough. You might get something and say, wow, this really works well, and we had no idea. So I have no problem to test things, but once I know they don't work, then there's no point to waste money, waste budget. And we do small tests, so I don't want to burn my clients' money. We never do that. We do a $5 test, $10 test. After a day or two, we turn off the ad sets, and we go back to what was working, what is working, and what potentially could be working again. And so it comes with testing audiences. So audiences are a big thing.
And are most of your clients looking to sell things online or grow their social media page?
Right now, it's more about selling. For growing social media pages, I learned that most people that just want to grow their social media page, they're not willing to spend more than, before they would spend more, I would say, but now most people don't want to spend more than $200 or $300 a month at the most to grow their social media pages. And that's not the type of clients that I work with. So that's not something I'm focused on. If a client wants to blow up their business and they have funding and they have a business that's making money, whether it's a brick and mortar or an online store, they typically can afford more to blow up their social media, to increase their organic engagement, and to sell more of their products.
So when you were first starting on social media, what kind of things did you do to grow your page?
So what I would do, and here's the interesting thing. When I came in the game, which was 2011, roughly, the company went live, let's say October 2011. I was living in Chicago at the time, and I had just resigned from being a marketing director for Chase Bank. They had moved me from LA to Chicago. long story short, I just wasn't impressed with Chicago, with the weather, the food. Hey, it was okay, but it wasn't for me. I had moved from Santa Monica to Chicago. So it was just a big lifestyle change. And, for the money and the job opportunity, I took it and I said, okay, let's do it. But I didn't like it. It didn't work out for me. I wasn't, meant to be there, I felt. So I resigned, and they were trying to keep me. And I was like, look, I'm going home. I'm going back to LA. This is not for me. And in that time that I was kind of waiting to move back, because I was stuck in a lease and they wanted like $7,000 to break the lease at the time. And I only had a couple months left. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just stay. I went back to selling beats online. And as most people know, I started as a music producer and a recording engineer. And the journey just took me somewhere completely different. And I ended up working for Chase and got into marketing. So in this time, I was selling beats online, and I was learning about digital marketing. I was buying all these online courses, and I got into, selling these beats and seeing this PayPal money come into fruition and being like, wow, I just sold like all these tracks to people, and I didn't even lift a finger. And it was like money just deposited on my bank account. I was like, wow. And as I was learning all these tactics, I was using these different Twitter bots and these Twitter apps. And this is before AI. So keep in mind, the game has changed so much. It feels good because AI is kind of resurfacing those bots and those automations that I grew up on that helped me build my Instagram, helped me build my Twitter. And what had happened was, I was like selling these beats, and people were like, man, your marketing funnel is amazing, because you hit me up, you sent a message, and keep in mind, it was all automated, and it sent me to your website that I bought the beat, and I love it, but I don't need beats. I need help with marketing. So I was selling the marketing just personally, and then I was like, wow, well, I need to separate this into a business. And that's how I got into social media marketing. And at the time, I was dominating. There was no other companies. There was like another company in India doing the same like social digital marketing, trying, and all the big marketing companies in US were still so concerned with, billboard ads, magazine, all these other things. They didn't want to get into the digital space because at the time they thought it was cheap, it was dingy, and they were on these $100,000 campaigns, with these huge brands where they didn't have to. So that was a kind of something I discovered, that I did the same thing with Hype Beast dog clothing again, was being the first, because being the first helped me, dominate the space. So if you're the master in the space, you're going to win. And that's kind of how I made a lot of my money, was being the first in that space. I was getting phone calls from people, and they were just like, you guys do the Twitter and the Facebook. How much is it? Okay, $1,000 a month. Here's my credit card number. Because no one else was offering to manage the Instagram, the Twitter, to do the content, to build the engagement up. So yeah, that was an amazing time. It was like the gold rush.
Yeah. Marc, it's funny when I look at your life from the outside looking in. You start in music, and then you go take a corporate job, which is, I feel like most people take a corporate job and then go to music. Why did you leave music for such a suit and tie 9-to-5 type position?
I'll come out and just say it because, not trying to like name drop or anything, but I'll just be honest, because a lot of people who know me know, and I don't really go out there and tell this story that much because I don't know. It's weird in the music industry. People are like, your name dropping, da 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 da. And it's like, hey, if this shit happened, and it did, and it's verifiable, it happened. And everything I tell you next is going to be verifiable no matter what. So I was into music, doing hip hop. I met a guy that was affiliated like with Wu-Tang Clan. We ended up going on tour with Wu-Tang Clan as an opening act. And we went on 2 tours spread out within different years, of course. In between, I was doing other things, producing music and engineering in studios and yada, yada, yada. It was the second tour we went on, the Wu-Tang Rebirth Tour. And a lot of people might know this artist, Capadonna. But we were in Capadonna's hotel room, and he was telling me, and my friend at the time, Chi King, shout out to Chi, he was telling me, and Chi at the time, he was like, I wouldn't tell my kids to get into hip hop. I wouldn't tell my kids to be a rapper. It's just like it's a different life than it is now, and it's just different coming up, and it's different than when we came up. And he was really just dropping a lot of knowledge into my brain, and I was just listening. And I was like, wow, this guy is like a legend in the music industry. Is telling me, like, don't get into this. Get into something else. And I'm like, but this was my passion. It still is. So keep in mind. But so anyway, we went on this tour, and it didn't go as planned out as we thought it would, as the first one went. So I ended up leaving the tour early. And this just resonated with me. And I've always been, I started in school for computer science. I was a DJ since 15. My mom told me I had to go to school. So I started to do computer science. I hated it. So I ended up switching my major to music engineering, recording engineering, and business, and learning how to play piano and all this stuff. So, I've always kind of been a, go with the flow type of person. But I don't know why I came back off the tour. I didn't really have a good taste in my mouth, and money was really tight. I was doing a lot of freelance recording engineering jobs, and selling tracks here and there. It was up and down. So I felt like I needed some structure. So I ended up taking just a bunch of jobs, and I was working at a music store, West LA Music. I used to work at Guitar Center. So I was just taking all these jobs, and I ended up getting this job at Chase, and I just started to do really well, and I got promoted, and that was it. And that's what kind of like took me in that direction, because I was like, wow, I'm actually really good at selling, and I'm actually really good at managing, because I became the supervisor after about a month, and then I got promoted to assistant manager after 3 months. Then, they presented the opportunity to go to Chicago and promote me again. So that's kind of how my life took a different direction based on that conversation that day with Capadonna, and just being in the music industry and seeing the ups and downs, and seeing, I can go and do anything. So let me go try something new for a little bit.
And that's interesting. And I hate to ask you a hypothetical, but do you think if you'd ever took that job, you'd be doing what you do now?
I think that if I didn't take the job, I wouldn't be, for sure. I think I would probably still be doing music. And I think that knowing what I know now, I don't have any regrets, but I feel like the music probably would have been on a much larger scale, maybe, than it is now. But again, I have no regrets. I don't look back and say, oh man, I wish I could have. I'm thankful for all my successes and all my failures. They teach me something. But I feel like also like, hey man, I'm just getting started. So the stuff I'm developing now, I'm developing a social media marketing AI app, and I feel really strong about it. And I feel that like synergy that I felt when I opened my first company.
What was your current opinion on the state of music, the music industry, and everything that's kind of transpired since COVID?
Oof. Honestly, F you, COVID. COVID messed up so much stuff. I mean, the influx of online businesses that opened up, that created so much more competition in the space, is kind of junky, so to say. I don't want to curse too much on here. I don't know with the audience and all that. So, but yeah, I was selling dog clothing, and I was doing the marketing company before COVID. It was going really well. I was doing music, and I felt like it was just a lot more, everything was more open-minded. I was also doing like travel vlogging, and that's one thing that COVID really messed up for me, because I had like a 75 city and country tour set up to go and do these travel vlogs around the world. And I started doing some in Taiwan where I used to live. And then I started doing some in London and UK. And I had all these ones lined up. And it was just like, that's it. Plugs pulled on all that. And then, you know, during COVID, people were buying so much dog clothes. So that was good for us. But then I feel like after COVID, it was just so much competition because all the big brands like Nike, Petco, Chewy, they all realized they had to step up their online marketing game, which rose the, you know, the inflation on ad costs. And I just felt like COVID really messed things up for so much. And a part of me feels like COVID was like, it was necessary, but it wasn't necessary in a way. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. Like I have another brother, and we're actually in a band. I manage our band, Apollo Celine, and I feel like ever since COVID, there's people releasing so much music. It's kind of like diluted, and we're actually working on an album. We're going to be releasing it this sometime this year. My question for you would be, like, obviously with streaming, prices going to the artist being so low, how would you develop a career in the music industry, taking it on your own and not joining a big label?
I think right now with anything that you're doing, I would say one of the main problems I have is that I have ADHD, if you can't tell, and I'm a dreamer. And I believe that you can live multiple dreams out at one time. And I'm a very eclectic person. I'll wake up and listen to, you know, some Middle Eastern music, and then I'll go and listen to, you know, some Guns N' Roses, and then I'll go and listen to some Dr. Dre and Tupac, and then I'll go listen to some, you know, Fisher and Chris Lake, and listen to some Spanish tech house, you know, by like, you know, some El Rafa, and, you know, so I noticed that in the day and age we live in, people don't really like that. People are intimidated by the fact that I do so much, that I'm over here and then I'm over here. And it's like, you can't really keep up with what I'm going to do next. I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, you're just surprising. I don't know what you're going to do next. And in the online digital marketing, social marketing space, it really does pay off to be the nucleus of one thing and focus on that one thing and try to keep growing that and pulsate that bigger and bigger until it blows up. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, that I've realized of like, hey, I got to really focus in on more of one thing at a time and let it blow up and let it grow and let people understand, because that's how the algorithms work now when it comes to organic traffic, organic followers and all that. You know, being the, you know, the one-stop shop for many things is cool, but it confuses the algorithms, it confuses people, and then your peers are kind of like, you know, they're confused, because I know like other DJs who look at me and they're like, what the fuck? This guy's like, you know, doing marketing, he's doing fashion shows with dog clothing, he's doing music, he's traveling the world. Not everyone lives that lifestyle, where I'm the type of person that, you know, if I have an idea, I know I can make it into something, and I want to see where it goes, because I've had success with my digital marketing company. I've had success in music. I've had success with the dog clothing business. So I'm a big believer too on throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. But when it comes, I think now, to developing a new artist or a band, it would be just keep on putting out content and making it focus on your genre. If it's, you know, alternative, if it's heavy metal, if it's, you know, kind of like a rap rock, I don't know. You know, I think that there is strength in focusing on one thing, and especially in the music industry, because you want other artists to collaborate with you. You want the labels to look at you like this is your bread, butter, blood, sweat, and tears. Even though for me it is, people would look at me and say, oh, no, this guy's doing so much. But it's because I don't have a backbone. I don't have someone to ask for, like I can't ask. I don't have my family pass away when I was little. I can't say, hey, I need some money, so I have to get out and hustle. I got to make money happen. And I'm just making it happen the way that I know how to make it happen.
Absolutely. Now, speaking a little bit about like big major labels, I feel like there's kind of a theme that like, can you trust them? Can you not trust them? And you kind of been in the industry for a while. What's kind of your opinion on that?
At the end of the day, you have to take this approach, and I think this is such a great question. I'm so happy you asked this because this is gonna be the most valuable information that I think I ever give out, that I hold true to myself, and that I hold true that I want other people to really understand. You don't want to be greedy with your talent, and you don't want to be greedy with your skill. I could have signed a deal when I was younger, and I didn't because I was under the impression I was worth more, and I was, they're ripping me off. And at the end of the day, you're going to get ripped off. That's just the name of the game. And the end of the day is, if you can't beat them, you got to join. And the truth is, you can't beat Interscope. You can't beat Universal. You can't beat Sony. So if you have an opportunity to join forces with them, even if they're going to take, a good amount of chunk out of your money and your masters, it still will pay off for you because they're giving you that machine to output you into the limelight faster than anyone would ever be able to do it for you. Now, building up your own fan base organically and doing it independent, hey, that's amazing. But I remember a producer told me, he was pretty big in the industry when I was younger, and he said, if you only have one album or one hit in you, then this isn't the industry for you. So that being said, even if you signed a deal for 2 albums or 1 album and they take 50% or whatever, you're still going to be fine because now you have this fan base that the machine, the labels built for you, helped you get faster. You're involved. You have access to all the different artists that are on that label. You're part of the community. You would be able to manipulate that and take that and go and do your own thing a lot more effectively than if you just stay on your own trying to do it yourself, I feel. And I think that corresponds in business too sometimes. Even if you were to sell your company, so to say, to a bigger brand, I mean, take that money and reinvest it. Take that limelight you get from these bigger labels and reinvest it. Keep it going, keep the momentum going. So now I have no problem to sign songs to labels, even if I'm getting, a fraction of what I would get, because I know that they're going to push it a lot easier than I would have to, if I'm spending the money out of my pocket.
But once these musicians do make it and they are with the label and they are on tour, especially for you as, a businessman doing the marketing and the branding, it's such a nightlife industry. How do you finish your set at 5 a.m. and then get on your computer and deal with clients and get back to business? How do you balance your time with those two?
I would say I'm really good at kind of figuring out when and where everything is going to be worked on. You don't have to do everything every day, and that comes with delegating. So I don't just, I'm not a one-man team, no matter what people think. I might be like a one-man band, but I'm not a one-man team. I have people that work for me behind the scenes that I'm able to delegate a certain amount of tasks until I need to step in and say, okay, now I need to review this. Now I need to spend a couple hours working on this marketing strategy and then relay that to the team so they can work on these things. And then I need to work on this ad campaign, see how it's going. Okay, then relay that to the team. I think that we often think that we need to do things every second, every day, and that's it. But we don't. If we delegate, we hire people we can trust, then we're able to, alleviate some of that stress off our shoulders.
I like your approach towards that. So, Mark, with your past, I guess, close to 15 years of experience today, for someone listening to this that's building a business, building a podcast like we are, building really anything that's larger than them, what advice would you give to them in terms of branding and really getting your name out there to new people?
I think just be unique, be different, and have a hook to get them in. That's, very unique. That's different. That people say, what does that even mean? Like if you look at all the big things out there, like their names are just weird. Twitter, Instagram, Nike, Chanel, like they just don't even mean anything. Versace, even though they're names, but they just make you raise an eyebrow as soon as you hear it. And I think that carries you to start. And when it comes to branding, I think also a brand is a brand. A company is a company. A musical artist is a musical artist. When I look at companies and when I look at brands and I look at, rappers and I look at singers, I think about the color they give me when I see their brand, when I see their music, when I see their aesthetics, because people are vision based. No matter how much we don't think so, it's that first impression. They see something and they're like, whoa, look at that. Like, oh my God, look at those visuals. Like it's melting. And look at this company's website. It's like, it's crazy. And look at their social media posts. It's wow. I think that, being aesthetically pleasing is always a win. And anything I do, I believe that it has to have that wow factor. What we say in the Facebook, Instagram ads world, we say scroll stoppers. So when you're scrolling, you're like, holy cow, like, that's crazy. I've never seen something like that. And then you look at the name and you're like, what's the name? Wow. Fuzazi. You're like, what's a Fuzazi? You start to just think like, what the heck is that? I don't sound stupid, but you know what? I kind of want it,
I like that, scroll stoppers. That's a great expression. Marc, super appreciative of you coming on our show, man, dropping some knowledge, and we definitely got to do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely, guys. It's been amazing. I'm so happy I joined you, and thanks again for having me. And anytime, I'd love to do it again. I like the synergy between you guys. I wish I could get my brother together on a Zoom, but I can't. So you guys are lucky. Enjoy that. Well, who's the younger brother and who's the older brother is what I want to know.
Yeah, Evan's the younger brother. He's got a twin actually, named Ethan. So we're three brothers, and I'm older, just by a little bit. That like only 15 months.
Oh, nice. Wow. Yeah, my mom was a twin, so that's cool. That's what I always tell people. I want to have two twin boys and one girl, so the twin boys will protect the girl.
There you go. Yeah. And Marc, before we let you go, why don't you plug everything you got going on, your music, your business, your personal pages, everything you got?
Yeah, sure. I mean, on the Instagram, it's Marc Illy, MarcIlly. I have the ultimate FBAdsguide.com. If you want to learn about Facebook ads, I have the deardoggo.shop where we sell hypebeast dog clothing. And if you need those marketing campaigns on a larger spectrum, it's yourhousemarketing.com.
Awesome.
Every night is my DJ profile and music stuff. So every night with a 3, like 3 very night. That's it. Go.
Marc Illy, appreciate you hopping on the Everything But Politics podcast, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.